Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, dear guests. I am very pleased to be here to see familiar faces of our friends to commemorate 10 years anniversary of very important organization for Georgia. Over 10 years, CNFA, which stands for Cultivating New Frontiers in Agriculture, has played a vital role in transforming our country's agriculture. For 10 years, CNFA has not just been a partner, but a friend to the Georgian farming community. Through the support of US government, especially USAID and the Millennium Challenge Corporation, Georgia has had the opportunity of being introduced to organizations like CNFA. Over 10 years, CNFA has played a vital role in transforming our country's agriculture. When conflict erupted in 2008 with Russia, it was through a USAID program that CNFA offered immediate support. There were thousands of displaced persons and farming came to a halt in the conflict zones. Through the USAID Georgia Agriculture Risk Reduction Program, CNFA provided essential assistance to local farmers, helped resettle internally displaced persons, and ensure the successful spring crop planting and orchard assistance. In addition, CNFA operated an electronic voucher and system for orchards. These cards were distributed to more than 17,000 farmers who were able to purchase more than $5.8 million of plant protection products. Through the 4-year Agribusiness Development Activity, ADA, funded under the Millennium Challenge Georgia Fund, as part of the compact between the Georgian government and the Millennium Challenge Corporation, CNFA utilized local matching grants to help farmers access innovative agricultural production technology, inputs, quality control, and all the best practices and output marketing. I am only highlighting 2 programs, but CNFA has been involved in many more projects than just these 2. In total, CNFA supported implementing 8 projects in Georgia. Through USAID and MCC, the US government provided help to more than 430 agricultural enterprises, created over 3,500 jobs, and trained more than 140,000 persons. Due to this generous assistance, production of agribusiness enterprises funded in the framework of CNFA projects exceeded $51 million. I'm proud to the work that we have been able to do as a result of these partnerships. But I am even more proud to state that CNFA is more than a partner. They are a true friend of Georgia. 3 days ago, former CNFA President and CEO and current CNFA Board of Directors member, John Costello, received the very distinguished Golden Fleece Order from the President of Georgia. Mr. Costello oversaw CNFA operations for 29 years, and it is because of his leadership that CNFA was able to play such a critical part in helping reform our country's agriculture sector. Dear friends, you know that traditionally agriculture was a leading economic field of Georgia, but it languished in previous years, and the share of agriculture in GDP decreased drastically. This has negatively impacted more than half of Georgia's population living in rural areas. After coming to power in 2012, the new government launched new policies for the systemic reform of the agriculture sector, designed to boost exports, create jobs, and increase production. Our government works hard to create favorable environment for developing business-oriented, sustainable agriculture and to turning Georgia into a leading exporter of agriculture products. Georgia enjoys free trade regimes with the European Union, Turkey, and the CIS countries. We have completed free trade agreements with EFTA, which is Liechtenstein, Iceland, Norway, and Switzerland, and are negotiating free trade agreement with China, which will hopefully be completed until the end of this year. This means that Georgia will soon have free trade access to more than 2 billion consumers. To utilize these opportunities, many programs have already been successfully launched and implemented with active involvement of private sector and with generous assistance from various donor institutions and international organizations. These efforts have already shown tangible results. Over the past 4 years, the government invested in infrastructure of the agriculture sector. More than 120 irrigation system rehabilitation and renovation projects have been successfully completed. Water supplied agriculture area doubled since 2012. The government is implementing various support programs and projects to help both small landowners and farming cooperatives. Over 800,000 small farmers receive help from state through numerous assistance projects. We are also fostering development of agriculture cooperatives. Since 2014, almost 1,400 cooperatives were established with more than 12,000 members. And this is thanks to European Union-sponsored NPART project and the recent tranche of 52 million euro assistance under this project was recently signed between the government of Georgia and European Commission. We have launched preferential agro-credit and other co-financing projects to create new enterprises and to promote geographic diversification in agricultural sector. 148 new enterprises were established and almost 700 expanded through preferential agro loans, and state has co-funded 28 agri-product enterprises. Various new projects as Plant the Future help to increase the quality of agriculture products by co-financing seeding nurseries and orchards. A new scientific research center was opened to bring cutting-edge research and innovation into local farming practices. To increase local agri-product competitiveness and their compliance with EU standards, a world-class phytosanitary laboratory has been recently established. These are only a few examples of our efforts to revitalize and develop Georgian agriculture. Of course, all this would not have been possible without strong support and dedication of many people sitting in this room. I would only mention two. We have two former ministers of agriculture. We have Shalva Pipia as a former Minister of Agriculture who has contributed to the recent development of agriculture. And we have David Kirwalidze, who is the only expatriate member of the Board of Directors at CNFA in Washington, D.C., and we are very, very proud of having him at this very important organization. I can say on my government's behalf that we are ready to work even harder and believe that together with our international partners, we will make Georgian agriculture a sustainable part of a well-developed economy. Thank you, CNFA, for your continued service to our country, and we look forward to many more opportunities of working together in the future. Thank you very much.
Secretary of Agriculture, I've been all over the world. I had the personal privilege during the time I served as Secretary under Bill Clinton. It was during the time of GATT, the General Agreements of Tariffs and Trade. And I asked the President to allow me to personally negotiate the bilateral treaties and the multilateral treaties on the part of my government. And he allowed me to do that, so I've been all over. But I've got to tell you, I've never been to a place as dynamic, as warm, as vibrant, and full of success as Georgia. I was on the board with my good friend David. And David told me that he was going to introduce me as a big drinker. All I can say is that I've tried my best. David, thanks for your hospitality. You and Mooka and the rest of those who designed our trip here to Georgia, I want to thank you for that. We've had great dinners, great food, great wine, fresh vegetables, and so much drink. On the first night we were here, after we had 25, 35, 55 toasts, David leans over to me and he says, I want to take you somewhere. Okay, David, let's go. Where are we going? David said, I want to take you to my house. Now, we drove for a bit to Tbilisi and we ended up in front of not his current home, but his boyhood home. And he introduced me to his mother. To me, that's very special because in my history, when someone introduces you to their mother, there's only two things that can happen. One is you might get surprised with a proposal of marriage. Or you might get surprised with commitment of another type of fidelity. And that's the fidelity of friendship, fidelity of cooperation. And so with David and two other Georgian ministers of agriculture, we went downstairs. And there he has what I call a wine bunker. All types of Georgian varieties, all types of Georgian years of production. And we drank to families, to friends. We also drank to freedom. And we also drank to agriculture because we recognize that no matter whether you're from the United States or whether you're from Georgia, we represent all the producers and consumers in the world. And there's only two. You produce and you consume, and if you live in, there is no other. We had a great time, David, and I thank you for your hospitality. For the 4 days that we've been here, I've had the opportunity to sit and look at your current president of Georgia give our former director, John Costello, your highest sovereign award. It was an honor for us all because it told us that we have had some success here in Georgia for the last decade. And under his leadership and under the leadership of Sylvain Roy, we're going to do even more. Then we went and we met with your Prime Minister, Giorgi. And he sat there and told us coherently his vision for Georgia in education, in infrastructure, in transportation, and in agriculture. Succinctly, coherently, a man of vision. Now, we're not a political body. So I step outside of my role as a CNFA board member and just wish for you my very best wishes in the upcoming election in October. Then we went and had a side visit with the former Prime Minister Benzina, who I think could audition for any James Bond movie. And then we went to the crux of our programs here in Georgia. We sat and we saw farm service centers, 3. One was more rural, one was more urban, one focused on inputs, one focused on mechanization, but all focused on 3 elements of success: innovation, flexibility, and stability. We're here telling the Georgian farmers that we are here for you. A good vehicle for the future. And the last thing I'd like to mention is the thing that really impressed me the most. We got on a bus and we went to Gori. And yes, we visited the Gori Farm Service Center. But first we visited what I would call the encroachment, the occupation. And we put on our binoculars and we looked across the barbed wire fence and we saw the Russian soldiers standing there looking back at us with binoculars, beckoning people back to the old way, back to the old way of the demand economy, back to the old way of the central authority, back to the old way of the collectives. But then we went to the Gori Farm Service Center, which demonstrated the new way of decentralization, the new way of free enterprise, the new way of democratization. saying to the people, don't look for the old way. Remain here and grow and prosper under the new way. Through the vanguard of private sector enterprise, as embodied through the farm service centers that our government has allowed us to give just a little incentive to your farmers. They use their own money. They take their own risks. And they have their own reward. So like the waters from your mountains that find its way down to the sea, pushed by gravity, the people of Georgia will continue to find their way to freedom, pushed by the forces of free enterprise through visionary government leaders. So I'm so proud to be here, so proud to have been given the opportunity to come with my colleagues from CNFA, my first time in Georgia, but will not be my last. Thank you.